Hello and welcome to Just a Moment. My name is Kristen Harding. Welcome to the show. I'm going to start out today by welcoming everyone. And if you're watching on the replay, thank you so much for joining us. It really doesn't matter when you listen, just that you listen. And if you hear anything that resonates inside of you, then I did my job for the day. So let's start with our blessing cards. Hope you all are enjoying this wonderful Lionsgate energy. It'll be over soon, so set your intentions. What do you want to manifest? Got all the energy in the world behind you. You just have to make it so, as Picard would say. So let's start with our wonderful blessing cards by Lucy Cavendish and the Blessed Be series. And today, 3 cards came up, which really didn't surprise me with this energy going on. So the first one that came up is a blessing on your day. I'll show you the card. It's a lady with long red hair and wings, hugging a tree. So it says, a blessing to bring awareness, to shape and set the energy of the day, and to frame it with light and the possibilities of healing, adventure, and gratitude. May your soul feel called by the song of the day. May this day be a gentle and good and clear and sure day filled with grace and gentle reminders of your own divinity. May the people you meet this day show generosity of spirit, be hospitable and welcoming, and open and candid in all of their dealings. May the sky be filled with blue and white. May the green beneath your feet be solid and soft to walk upon. May the rain fall soft and nourishing, and the trees whisper to you the secrets that you need to know. May any challenges you encounter find an answering strength and courage within you. And when you come to rest this night, may you remember the many blessings this day held, and account for them with the gods, and be thankful for each of them, no matter how small. Blessed be. All right, the second one that came up is a blessing to bring prosperity. And it's a lovely lady holding the lotus position, and she's got apples in her hand and a basket of apples in the other. So she's got a very prosperous appearance to her. And so blessings to bring prosperity. A blessing for you so that you will always have enough to support you and see you thrive. Dearest friend, may there be more than what it is that you need, yet always let you be appreciative of all the gifts that you have been given. May the natural prosperity and gifts of each season be yours, the fullness and wide open arms of summer and its rich harvests. May the falling of leaves of autumn bring you the urge to let go and bring in and do what must be done. Let the depths of winter bring you to the richness of inner light and life, the cold reminding you of the great golden heart at the center of you, and allow the spring to bring you the green shoot pushing through new beginnings. May there be plenty for adventures beyond your home and hearth. Let there be sufficient so that there is always wood in your fire, food in the pot, and a light shining down upon you. May the flow of abundance that nature reveals within all of us and in her faces be yours. And wherever there is need, know it will be met again and again with the blessings of the universe, for they will flow to you, and you may gather them up in your arms and create more and more of whatever it is that you need, whatever it is your soul calls out for. You will be able to create a home. You will be able to nourish yourself and those you love. You will no longer struggle or attempt to force. Instead, you will enter the stream of plenty that flows all about you and now is yours. Let prosperity, real and true, be yours, and may there be gratitude and charity and generosity from you to meet the bounty of the world that now flows to you. Blessings of prosperity to you, my friend. Let bounty be shared and its ways taught, so all may know the simple secrets of growing enough for all that is needed. Blessed be. And now the third one is a blessing for a fresh start. And it's a lady standing in the snow with a raven by her side, a broom in her hand, and holly at her feet, and the moon in the sky. It's beautiful. All right, a blessing for a fresh start. A blessing for when we must begin a part or even a great deal of our lives anew. A blessing upon you as you strike out from the familiar place which, for all its troubles, was the place that you knew. May the uncertainty which surrounds you and the fear of what may come be quelled as you bravely take those first steps and begin to create the new life which was always yours, for destiny would have made this so. May you find comfort in the ease with which you find yourself embracing the new, and may the loneliness you encounter become more akin to solitude, a time of re-knowing your own self, as the world no longer can tell you who you are over and over again. May the breaking free of what has tethered you renew your strength. And as you tremble from time to time, wondering if you ought to have stayed within the cage, know that you are being watched over and encouraged by divine ones who wish you all the blessings of the world. May you embrace the differences, adapt, and explore who you are, and know that when you gave yourself this great chance, you offered yourself the great gift of recreation, of transformation of self, of the realization of your own personal truth. May this fresh start be a blessing to you and give you the knowledge, the certain, unquestionable faith that you can break free of winter, that a springtime within your life has come through your own creation, and you have gathered up all the power you had and struck out, far from the self and the ways you knew, in order to be free, to be wild, to be wholly your own self once again. A blessing to you, child of the earth, on this fresh start, which will come to you as soft as a flower breaking free of a bud, as strong as a butterfly emerging from the cocoon. There may be a struggle in this shift, but know that your every movement towards the new is divine, is noticed, is energetically supported with all the blessings of the wild world. For the wheel must turn, and every point on that wheel is a blessing. Blessed be. Wow. It's amazing how those cards pop up. Very appropriate. That's all I'm going to say about that. Well, 1 second here. We are at the very end of our book. You're not dying, you're just waking up. We have one more chapter, and then if there's a time, I might outline the next book. So we'll see. So, shall we begin? And the last chapter is called Unlocking your DNA and stepping into the fifth dimension. So this is a quote from Elizabeth April, what I'm about to read. Hey Starseed, so we are nearing the end of our journey. Check in with yourself. How are you feeling? Which sections in this book really hit home for you? Are you ready to become the Neo of your reality? Do you truly believe and see how magical you are? Do you now understand that you create your own reality and therefore can create anything you possibly desire? Keep in mind, Starseed, that this journey repeats itself. Sometimes we go through the questions and the anxiety and the ego death again and again in order to level up in all aspects of life. This book was designed to guide you, to anchor you, to validate your own experiences. So be sure to keep it close and check back in during times of need. I am glad you are here, Starseed, for if it wasn't for you and your open mind, I wouldn't be here at this time. You are safe to expand, and I am excited to see that you thrive and not just survive, because you effing deserve that. Elizabeth April. Although we are nearing the end of the book, that knowledge is power. Of course, I popped in and out. Of course, I say this. I am on the knowledge path to enlighten with the added bonus of the Teacher Soul Group. The information contained within this book holds a vibrational frequency and a strong one at that. Regardless of whether you agree with all of this content or not, it will and already has impacted you. I want to conclude this book with an explanation of unlocking your DNA and stepping in to the fifth dimension. Our internet is being quite naughty today. Hi, Benny. I'm popping in and out just like a ghost. Well, I'm just going to keep reading. I'm only about 13 minutes in, but if the internet pops out, that's all she wrote. But I am going to keep trying. There we go. Stepping into the fifth dimension. This is a bit of a tricky concept, not for any reason other than semantics. It is clear that this planet is going through an evolution. This is indeed a collective growth within a physical sense, but the biggest evolution we are currently witnessing is an energetic one. What happened to the fourth dimension? I have called this evolution a move from 3D, from dimension density to fifth, and I have also called it a transformation from the old Earth into the new, or the advancement from a low vibration into a higher vibration. A lot of people ask me, well, what happened to the fourth dimension? And why we simply seem to skip over it. In a sense, the fourth dimension is the dimension of time itself. It does seem like we skip over time itself, essentially skipping over the fourth dimension. This is actually what we end up doing during our awakening. We quantum leap from one vibrational density into another. Think about the radio skipping to the next channel rather than going through the ones in between. It's kind of like that. Although there is so much more to this concept, I find it currently irrelevant to dive into. I'll leave the fourth dimension to another book and just leap right now into the fifth. EA's definition of the third dimension: a vibrational container which converges dimensions 1 through 3 and is limited by the linear aspects of space and time. EA's definition of the fifth dimension: a vibrational container which converges dimensions 1 through 5, where space and time exist in a more fluid, non-linear state. The fifth dimension itself. Beyond this state of reality, there is a vibrational density which is called the fifth dimension. Similar to the container of the third dimension, it's not impossible for us to imagine this dimension since it combines all the components of the first, second, third, and fourth dimension, while being a little less dense and linear. Keep in mind, dimensions are just vibrational containers. As the dimensions get higher, the vibrations become less dense. This will affect the physical state of the organism as well as the energetic state of the soul. In higher dimensions, we are pushed to learn more and more complex lessons. The reason I needed to separate the two is because it can get a little confusing. We are currently existing within a third dimensional container, while simultaneously ascending to a much higher frequency. As we move into a new frequency, our bodies and even the environment around us remains practically the same. However, the systems in our lives will shift, both individually and collectively. Moving into a higher frequency is moving closer to pure source energy, the embodiment of everything that has ever been. Getting to a higher dimension means more connection to the whole. Right now, our 3D world and systems have been very individualized to support a small percentage of the whole. This linear and limited system on the earth needs to shift as we move into this new frequency. This shift will create a chaos, collapse, purging, and destruction of the old systems. Basically, anything or anyone that is not assisting the collective in the highest vibration will be forced to change. Remember the chapter on chaos and ego death? That's what needs to happen at a collective level in order to allow us to move forward into a new frequency. We need to let go of old energy and clear space before we are fully able to move forward. Although I would love to clearly label this new frequency as the fifth dimension, it would be wrong of me to do so. Planet Earth is experiencing something that has never been done before. Typically, 5D planets stay and remain in that frequency, and it is the soul who moves on to higher dimensions. Here, right now, we have an entire planet, civilization, and potentially solar system, and beyond, ascending to a higher frequency. Oh, potentially a whole solar system and beyond. There we go. There should have been a comma there. Ascending to a higher frequency. For semantic purposes and the lack of freedom within the language, I am going to stick to 5D as the main label. It's the easiest way to say that we are moving forward, but we aren't totally there yet. At an individual level, we are able to move into a higher frequency without the collective being there yet. This, unfortunately, creates a lot of anxiety and restlessness within someone as they do this. Just like in the beginning chapter, you will struggle with connecting to others who are in vibrational different states. Unlocking your DNA. Unlocking your DNA is a quintessential part of awakening. It's actually not something you need to sit down and focus on. Just like breathing, it happens naturally as you raise your vibration. Science has told us that only 10% of our DNA is activated. Apparently, according to them, this is all we need to exist. When I heard this for the first time, I was like, is anyone else even slightly curious about what the other 90% of the DNA is? Recently, I looked this fact up again and read a few peer-reviewed articles. Scientists say that we use anywhere between 8% and 25% of our DNA, and most of the articles published will also inquire as to why we haven't studied this any further. I have a theory, of course. After hearing about this shocking fact, I decided to channel exactly why this is the case. The information channeled through me connected to information from 2012 regarding the hybridization project and humans being an experiment. It all started making sense. The majority of the DNA we have is actually attributed and correlated with our beautiful interdimensional ancestors. From my channeling, I have discerned two different types of DNA. Etheric DNA activation. Etheric DNA, as the name suggests, is the DNA which is directly connected to our souls and cloud storage. These strands of DNA are vibrational and contain all of our knowledge throughout our entire existence as a soul. As this DNA is vibrational, it is also directly connected to pure source energy. The majority of this DNA becomes deactivated while we live through our lives here on this planet. When we originally incarnated here, and usually in parentheses, usually thousands of years ago, most of this etheric DNA was fully active. This would allow us full range of spiritual and psychic abilities. Abilities such as telepathy, astral travel, lucid dreaming, future visions, and instantaneous healing. Not to mention it would help us remember who we are and why we came here. Unfortunately, the vibration of this planet continued to become more and more dense as the wars between light and dark increased. The more fear on this planet, the denser the energy, ultimately suppressing our DNA. To the point that if we were to have activated etheric DNA at a time when humanity was asleep, then we would have been persecuted. It just wasn't safe for starseeds. Over time, we began to consciously make contracts with deactivated etheric DNA so that we could simply fit in with the rest of humanity. If we didn't fit in, then we wouldn't be able to fully complete our mission on the planet. There was safety in being asleep and disempowered. No matter what body or incarnation you choose to have, every being in the universe has etheric DNA. The denser and lower vibrational the incarnation, the more likely it is to have deactivated etheric DNA. In order to coexist, we must match the vibration of the incarnation. Once again, this process of putting ourselves to sleep leaves us restless, anxious, and depressed. When looking at the younger generation, the rainbow and the crystalline children being born on this planet today are all having major symptoms of depression and anxiety at such a young age. This is because they are very new to this planet's vibration. They haven't had as many lifetimes as humans. So, when they come, their etheric DNA is open and activated, thus creating a deep turmoil within them, which they feel is unresolvable since there are no obvious solutions. Hmm. Raising your vibrational frequency is directly correlated to unlocking and activating your etheric DNA. The more you become awakened, the more activated you are. The more activated your etheric DNA is, the more connected, conscious, and psychic you become. Cool. So now you have the question, how do I raise my vibration? Like I mentioned before, this book is an incredible download of information which will help you raise your vibration because knowledge is power. And with that power comes great responsibility, just like Spider-Man. You are naturally raising your vibration in every step of the awakening process, especially in the challenging ones. However, there is one major piece of information I find necessary to mention with this concept. It is so natural for us to raise our vibration because it is our natural state of being. We are vibrational beings first and physical beings second. Raising your vibration is as organic as breathing or digesting your food. You don't need to tell your body to do these things. Likewise, you don't need to tell your soul to awaken. However, there are two main pieces of information which will allow this process to move faster. Hello, Christopher. Wouldn't the grid workers be the true Spider-Man whose webs are the energy grids? Oh, absolutely. I wonder where they got the idea from. For Spider-Man, I mean. Oh, let's see. Two main pieces will allow us to move faster. Are you aware of your thoughts? Are you aware of your actions? Most likely, you are only aware and present for 10 to 20% of your thoughts and actions. And hey, that's totally okay. But if you want to awaken your vibration and make it sustainable, you will want to increase the awareness tenfold. Maybe you are convincing yourself that you are a lot more aware than you actually are. Think about it this way. When you have a feeling of thirst, do you think about taking a sip of water, or do you just react to the sensation and do it? Most likely, you are just doing things throughout your day that are from our natural autopilot programming. When we apply this to drinking water, it's not a big deal. But if we apply this to coming home every day and pouring yourself a glass of wine, because that's just what you do, it could be potentially detrimental to your body. A similar example is of going to the grocery store and just buying all the stuff you normally buy every week. But what if you walked into the grocery store and truly stopped to ask your body what it needed that week? Oh, hello, Tony. Watching soaking in the bath. What a wonderful place to be. Good for you. Relaxing in your bath. Well, I hope you enjoy it. My internet is playing peekaboo with me today. Isn't that fun? All right, grid workers. Send me a little energy to keep the signal going. Whew. Taking that extra moment to bring conscious awareness to your thoughts and therefore actions. The more conscious we become, the higher our vibration becomes. Living a more aware life, even in a small way, allows us to put more of an emphasis on our intuition and take the power away from the ego, the programming, and the comfortable. Bringing awareness to every choice you make allows you to have full control over every aspect of your reality. Christopher says, internet cooperation is a reflection of how much you accept it as a tool. Well, I'm grateful for the tool, but sometimes it doesn't like me so much. All right. Every aspect of your in reality. I am about to make a really important point about making the right choice when trying to raise your vibration. The thing is, there is no right or wrong. Any teacher who tries to tell you otherwise is literally just indoctrinating you into their system. Awakening your soul has no system. It's your process. If you get stuck in someone else's dogma, you're creating karma. Most likely their system is not fully aligned to your vibration. We create karma through action and thought. If you make a choice or a decision because someone else told you to, you are then living your life through obligation. Obligation is just another word for fear. This will lower your vibration. It's kind of like believing in the traditional quote unquote God and fearing that he will smite you if you don't obey his wishes, which is bullshit and it just disempowers you from listening to yourself. It is not, I repeat, it is not about the choice that you make, but rather it is always about the vibration behind that choice. It's not the repercussions of the physical chaos that will ripple into the universe. It's the vibration that will. The physical effects of your choices are still present, but they are contained in that moment through the limitations of space and time. The vibration and energy of the choice will have everlasting effects, which will come back around. If you send out positive and harmonious vibrations, you are attracting more of those harmonious vibrations into your life. When you send out negative or low vibrations, you are creating the perpetuation of those vibrations in the future. The vibration of your choice creates karma. It's up to you whether this karma is positive or negative. Example, you have a beer and an organic cold pressed orange juice in your fridge. Objectively, the beer, as its alcohol, has a lower vibrational frequency. Objectively, the juice, as it's organic and pure, has a much higher vibrational frequency. Choosing the beer. You can make the decision to grab the beer because you've had a long, rough day and you just need the ease, the energy that you feel. You are essentially making a low vibrational decision based on filling voids, suppressing your feelings, and looking for an external outlet. This is an example of how you are taking something that is already naturally at a lower vibration and adding an extra low vibration based on the vibration that you are in when you made that choice. Likewise, you can make the decision to grab that beer because you've had a long day, but you are feeling very appreciative and happy about life. It's a hot day and you've worked hard. So, indulging in a cold beer, as I turn the page, on a hot day would be the cherry on top of your already epic week. So, you end up grabbing beer. This is a good example of making a choice out of appreciation and heightened vibration. This will actually raise the naturally low vibration of the beer so that it serves you more and matches your intentions. Choosing the organic juice. You look in the fridge and see the two options. Naturally, you would always just reach for the beer, but your partner has been nagging at you about living a healthier lifestyle. You know that if your partner catches you with the beer, you're going to hear more nagging. So, out of obligation and slight resentment, you reach for the gross tasting juice just to appease them. This example shows us that even though the juice is at a naturally high vibration, your intention and energy behind that choice will actually lower the vibration of it as a whole. Alternatively, you've had a long day, and even though you would typically go for the beer, you stop and take a moment to think about what your body is really craving. And as you listen, you instantly feel connected to the nutrients of that cold pressed juice, feeling as though it would refresh your body more than the beer. So you go for it. Taking something physical that is at a naturally high vibration and adding your high vibrational intention will really serve your best and highest good. Are you beginning to see that the physical choice itself is only part of the equation? Most of the time, we don't even bother to factor in the intentions we have behind these choices. We are so powerful that we have the ability to override the vibration of physical world with the vibration of our intention and mindset. It's not about the thing itself, it's about your perception behind it. That's why it's literally impossible for one person to say with absolute certainty that this is good for you and this is bad for you. It's completely irrelevant and different for each individual. Understanding, appreciating, and valuing the vibration you have over the choices you make will help you become more aware of each present moment. This will essentially help you to raise your vibration and unlock your etheric DNA. Christopher says, taking something of a high vibration and adding a high vibrational intent to it should work with human interaction also. Then you transcend the need for bowling alley spirituality. Well, there you go. I like that. It's funny how you never need a drink of water until you're reading aloud. Okay. Matches your intention. Okay. Here we go. Physical DNA activation. Just like the universe, our being is created by both physical atoms as well as vibrational frequency. And just like the universe, vibration is always in control since it is constant. The physical container we choose is simply temporary and always dictated by our energy. We need to keep in mind that our physical DNA has an infinite realm of possibilities associated with it. This DNA has the ability to activate the cancer gene in us, as well as activate the psychic gene in us. The possibilities of our physical DNA are endless. So, what is it that activates or deactivates these possibilities? It all comes down to your vibrational frequency, just like our etheric DNA. What creates different wavelengths of vibration? Well, our intention, of course. As we have learned from previous chapters, it is our focus which can greatly impact and influence the direction of our lives. When we activate our etheric DNA, it triggers activations or deactivations within our physical DNA, just like what you choose to drink. It's not the drink itself that will impact your body or DNA, it's the vibration that determines how it affects you. More and more, you should be seeing and understanding how important our focus and vibration is from moment to moment. As we awaken, the emphasis is slowly taken off the physical world altogether and placed in the vibrational one instead. Both the physical and the etheric DNA are similar. They both play a pivotal role in our health and well being. Both are dictated by our vibration, as you will see in the personal story below. The point of this book, however, isn't about dropping the physical world to just become someone spiritual, some spiritual cosmic yogi. It's about harmonizing both sides of the duality we face. When we can find balance between the physical and vibration, we can then feel peace in our crazy lives. Final note: being human is not a punishment, it's a gift. There is a wait list for souls just wanting to come to this planet and help. Stop living your life in safety and stagnation. Stop making choices through obligation and attachment. Step up and live your life to the fullest. When you look back at your human experience in the next life, you will be glad you took those risks. I know it can feel overwhelming at times to be here, especially now, but you were trained for this. You are strong enough for this. You have prepared yourself for this right here, right now. You are ready, and the world is waiting. On a personal note, I learned all about the capabilities of our DNA firsthand when I dealt with lupus. Oh my goodness. It seems only fitting that I conclude this book with the same story that I started with, but just with a different perception. I had just gone through an extremely dramatic breakup with a partner of 3 years. We were high school sweethearts, and when I went off to university, he didn't. There was a lot of anger, jealousy, attachment, and fighting. Although we loved to glorify the relationship in our own minds, it was definitely bittersweet. The breakup was an on and off for about 8 months and took a toll on both of us. When we finally did split, I began getting a variety of physical health complications. Up until this point in my life, I was extremely healthy, athletic, and conscious of what I put into my body. For this to start happening at 18 really felt like it was out of the blue. My joints began to swell and ache all the time. I started losing circulation in my hands and feet to the point where they were going from pink to purple to white. I had odd rashes all over my body, and so on. I was in and out of the hospital often, as well as many doctors and specialist appointments. Eventually, upon doing some blood work analysis, they told me I had something called Reynolds, which was causing intense migraines and poor hand and feet circulation. On top of that, they told me my blood work came back positive for something called an ANA test. My Reynolds was actually called secondary Reynolds, since it was an indication of a deeper problem. They told me the deeper problem was an autoimmune disease called lupus. There are literally an infinite number of symptoms when looking into lupus, and it seemed like all mine fit the bill. They told me it was strange to get diagnosed with this at such a young age. I began to looking for answers outside the scope of Western medicine. I stumbled across a medical medium who had a shop on the street I worked at during the time, and I asked her about my lupus, and she told me it was something embedded within my genes. She asked me if I had any major traumas that had happened recently, like a breakup that would trigger this. And I said, why, yes. Yes, I did. She told me that because my vibration was low, I had let this disease into my system. Although that was tough to hear, I realized I did it to myself. It was a painful realization, but also an extremely empowering one to know that I created this. With that, I walked away knowing that I had the power to once again deactivate that gene. Over the next 6 months, I went within myself. I meditated, exercised, ate right, and made sure I was doing things which made me laugh. I spent quality time with my friends and dove into the world of self-love. I went back to the rheumatologist 6 months later after the diagnosis to get blood work done again so we could put together an action plan. By that point, the majority of my symptoms were gone. He said, I don't know what to tell you, but all the blood work came back negative. I was shocked. After 2 positive blood tests 6 months prior, I asked him if it was necessary to get more blood work done now, just to make sure. And he reassured me I didn't need any more. You might have noticed I began this book with the same story. However, I expressed it in a way where I was the victim. I was diagnosed because life was happening to me. My boyfriend was cheating on me. I had no control over that. I was convincing myself I was perfect and could do no wrong. Only when I stopped to take a long, hard look at myself did I start to see the reality in which I created. The most painful parts of my life have always been related to the introspection I needed to do, and never about what someone did to me. It was about what I did to myself. Through making these tough realizations and shifting not only my perspective but my vibration, I was able to unlock my DNA and change my life for the better. From all of my many life experiences, I have walked away with the validation that we don't need to be victims of our own body. We are, and have always been, in full control of what happens to us, Starseed. So, here you are, reading these words, sitting with all these vibrations. Hopefully at this point you are feeling aligned and empowered. Maybe you are feeling overwhelmed, and that's totally okay too. Whatever you're feeling, just sit with it. This is a powerful moment for you. This moment marks the completion of this book and the beginning of your own journey. From this moment on, you can do anything, be anyone, and ultimately create the life that you have always wanted. Remember, your reality is created from your thoughts, feelings, actions, and reactions. You wrote your blueprint. You put yourself here. You have the ability to put yourself anywhere. By reading this book, you are not, or you are, doing your part by anchoring in the vibrations and knowledge to the planet and essentially disseminating the awakening to the collective. If this book resonated with your soul, please share it as much as possible. I am. Maybe post it on social media or include it in a talk with your family. Maybe you want to give the gift of knowledge to the ones that you love. This could be your spiritual coming out book that you pass along to your friends and family who are struggling. Trust what needs to be said is said. Trust that their soul will know exactly how to integrate all of the information. And then she says, I encourage you to keep this book around. Although you have finished it, it will be a great resource to circle back to. I like using this book as an intuitive messaging system. Hold the book in your hand and ask, what do I need to know right now? And then open the book up at random to a page. Read the page you landed on and feel those vibrations through your body. Remember, your intuition got you here, so trust that it will take you the rest of the way. Integration meditation. Read this over and apply. Sit in a quiet place or lay down if it's more comfortable. Quiet your mind, letting go of all the thoughts, all emotions, and all sensations. And she says, I want you to visualize the book and all the information contained with it as a key. This key has the ability to unlock many doors. Each door leads to new destinations. All destinations assist you in awakening, expanding, and raising your vibrational frequency. Sit with this key. As a whole, how does it make you feel? Where does the information sit within your body? Imagine all the information of this book slowly integrating into your light body. It feels good. A warm, fuzzy feeling rolls over you. The integration brings a smile to your face and an opening into your heart. Next, the information begins to integrate into your physical body, all the way from your head to your hips to the tips of your toes. The information settles in. The keys contained within this book are yours. You can go anywhere with them. You can use them however you like. Moving forward, you will always have access to this information. And to the key, which unlocks the doors to unlimited possibilities. You are creating your own reality. You are in charge of the next now moment and how you respond to it. You are here for a reason, and this world rejoices in your presence. Remember, it's not always about doing, it's just about being. The world is ready to witness your radiance. Thank you for showing up, and thank you for being here. And that finishes this book. Now, the next one we actually have a choice on, and I'm really leaning towards this one, which is Your Anxiety is Giving Me Anxiety, because it kind of looks like it's a primer for what we're going through right now. So I'm thinking that's probably going to be the next book, but I will also have some amazing guests too. I do have a second one I'm thinking about reading, but I haven't checked it out with Benny yet. And it's called Drawing Down the Moon by Margaret Adler. So we'll see, but one of those two are the next book. So that is all for now, my very dear friends. Thank you so much for joining me. Never forget that you are amazing. You are loved. Be well, be safe out there. Protect your peace. And I'll see you on the next show. Bye.